Guess who's back? That's right, can't get rid of me that easily. This is a very special session because we've got a poll in this session. I would love for you all to get involved. We're going to bring out our next speaker, Nisha, to the stage. Where you at, Nisha? Hey, there you are.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, the only challenge is the presentation. So are you going to share the presentation?
Yes, we are hopefully going to have some success with this presentation. I know it's been a lot of fun trying to figure out if it works, but it wouldn't be a real conference online if we didn't have any technical difficulties.
We'll have to make a sound out of it.
Technical difficulties on the screen sharing. But don't you worry, because our team is hard at work trying to make this fixed. And so, we're not seeing it, no, but I think for some reason, let me see if I can share it from my side. I see it there. Hey, so you just tell me when to share the slides and we'll make it happen.
All right, let's do it. To run with it?
Yep.
Yes?
Just let me know when you need the next slide and I'll give it to you.
All right, and the audience can hear me? Somebody message?
Oh yeah, everybody hears and sees you.
All right. It's like speaking to myself. It will be wonderful. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Quite a challenge here to get the presentation rolling. But before I get started, I want to first do a big gratitude to all the organizers. Wonderful guitar. Thank you so much. Of course, the open source community and open house. Special shout out to Vinod, who invited me to speak today. And special shout out to Laura Anton. She's somewhere in the audience. She's my creative director who put the deck together. So you have to thank her when you see her on the chat. So on the next slide, I just wanted to kind of share, if you want to move the slide, I want to share a little bit of how I got here, who am I, and why are you listening to me. So I have, there's no timeline here, but I came from India back in 1998. So dating myself 2+ decades, lot of financial banking industry experience, but also in tech trenches from SQL Server 6.5. Many of you may or may not even have heard of that version, to mainframe, to most current last 3 years, I would say, has been amazing learning journey on data, AI, cloud, so much so on all these. And that's probably the reason why you are hearing me. Most recently, I also had an opportunity to collaborate, almost like an open source, on this book that you see on the screen called The Secrets of AI Value Creation. I learned so much. There are 14 chapters. Each chapter is contributed by somebody. So extremely grateful to everybody who has taught me to this topic. So this particular point of view for me matters now is on the next slide. We are wild west of AI gold rush, if I may call it. And not to bore you with all the numbers, but the one that is amazing to me is this last one that McKinsey shared in their report. I'm sure many of you must have seen that report. It's like 10% of the they have the data backbone for this very successful. And we have heard repeatedly, right? And all the presentators today have shared that. Everybody shares data is the the way to make this successful. So having said that, on the next slide, my humble experience, again, you all probably in the audience are a lot more educated on this. for this life cycle, right, on any AI application, I feel like all the steps that are needed across, you know, these three disciplines, I would say, data and AI. The whole life cycle starts with, of course, and then going into wrangling the data that is needed. Sometimes we don't even know where the data is, and larger the organizations, I've worked in some large ones. Larger the organization, you are just spending in amount of time to really get that data in the right shape so that anybody can actually use it. And then on this life cycle, and maybe some steps are missing as well, which is then brings me to the next slide, which is where I feel my point of view, again, in 10 minutes, I'll try to describe, is there is a massive disconnect across these disciplines. Now, software engineering, we know 30 years, it's pretty mature from processes perspective. I was doing research and I found out that it is older, but the stack, and we heard from many people today in the conference, and we hear this all the time. If you take the data lifecycle from all the data to use the data, which is where some of the AI comes in. An AI engineer, that's like an absolute new, probably a function, a discipline that is being created, right? And I have some music analogies going on here. I feel like this is where a platform like Open House can really do some value to all of us. So the first time when I heard Open House, I think we made about three years ago, or maybe 2.5 years ago. I really thought of them almost like if I have a music sheet, they are the conductors on the podium, and rest of it has all these instruments we try to play. And so, anyway, disconnect and this point of view is what I want to share with them. But before I go further, I want to do a quick poll, if you can have the poll and maybe the results for us here, just to see if on the next slide, the question is, in your current organization, how the three core engineering principles come together, and are we collaborating on initiatives? Is there a poll? Can you do the poll?
Yep, I'm bringing that up right now. Let's get that rocking. You should be able to see it.
And I think there are four options I gave you. We are a well-oiled, I call it trifecta, or you can say, I don't even know what is trifecta. So if we can get the poll going, we can see what is your opinion about this particular topic and how in your organization. I would imagine the smaller organizations probably don't have this problem, but probably see this way.
So we have people answering. I like it. It's cool. We've got it up on the platform.
I think it's
Yep, I will let you know once we have everyone voting. There's still some votes trickling in. We'll give it like another 5 seconds. It seems like the majority of folks. Oh wow, actually, it's quite a tight race here. This is
it's okay. We can hear the two viewpoints.
Yeah. I think some people changed their minds. This is nice. All right, so we've got B, C, and D. So basically, we have pockets of collaboration, but silos exist. It often feels like separate teams working in parallel are the two with the most votes. And then what is a trifecta? Has a lot of votes, but not anywhere near those two middle ones.
All right. Yeah, so trifecta is what we are discussing here. It's this unison of these three functions that have to come together to deliver an AI value. So why we don't even talk about trifecta? That's my humble experience. And again, if you haven't seen it, I would love to hear from you your viewpoints on. And the point of view for me is like it's a perfect time to bring these three functions together and really think of how we solve for some of the so-called bugs. So can we go to the next slide? I think first one I want to say is conflicting priorities and metrics that we see. So from a value system perspective, if the AI doesn't have an actual value statement, what are we doing for that particular AI use case? That's where I see that software focuses on the app performance, data focuses on the quality of bringing the data, and AI focuses on the model accuracy. And that's where I think the tension between these three disciplines. The other one I want to talk about is different life cycles and different stacks across the board for software and data and AI. But we know one has to feed the other. Data governance and access is another point, right? How many of you can confidently say that for all AI use cases, we have access to the data? So that's another one. So over a period of time, what I have seen is that these three disciplines are not working hand to hand. They are very scattered and they kind of are working on their own individual teams agenda. And so for the fixed part, I feel like there is a need for a common, I would say, understanding. It's on the next slide. The fix is on the next slide. It's a common understanding of the value system, the visibility of end to end, right? Making sure that that data is available to all the functions, making sure the description of what we are talking as the value for a given company, that is known to everybody. So that to me is the thinking behind these, the biggest hurdles, and how do you think about all the platforms, like we talked in data platforms today, Databricks, dbt, OpenHouse, Snowflake, etc. But then there is also the software stack and the AI stack, which has to come together to be able to do that. So with that, I think there is another poll, if we can say. If you have seen these hurdles, what have you seen in implementing an AI use case? Are you seeing different tools and technologies? Are you seeing different life cycles, especially across these three disciplines? And again, as I admitted, smaller companies may not see these three functions as a different function, but for larger companies, this has been my experience that we have three different disciplines which are trying to come together to generate that value. So, quick poll here. Can everybody access the poll?
Yep. We've got the poll on the screen right now. Folks are answering. What are they saying? What are they saying? It seems like the initial winner is managing data access and governance across teams.
Yeah, which is kind of obvious, right? Because data is again scattered all over the place. Some companies even don't even, I would say, have data strategy. And for those who have the data strategy, the tooling fragmentation in the data lifecycle and the need for, at least in the banking sector, also probably healthcare and others, the need for making sure the data is secure, only people who have access should have access, and all the nuances of data management, which we can call governance, is also another big hurdle for AI. I had this experience in Capital One when I was there. The data scientists were always struggling to find, hey, where is that data that I need? Or if I want to bring external data, how can I bring it securely, fast, and all that stuff? So on the next slide, I think I'll go into a little bit more on the value that I have seen when these three disciplines come together. In fact, I was just speaking to a commercial real estate EVP last week, And he was mentioning how even at the C level they have created one role. I think they are calling it CTDAO, if that makes sense, Chief Technology Data Analytics Officer. So I think it's the companies that have figured out, and those are the ones that are probably scaling to actually deliver value from AI. And some companies I mentioned here, my own, where I have spent a decade. AT&T, some friends from AT&T have been mentioning how some of these AI use cases are bringing value. But I think more and more I am interested in how is the operational and the scale of this AI. It's not just one use case that you put in production. It's about the entire, like I said, the life cycle, and you repeat and rinse this life cycle, right? I think that slide also has a couple good examples. I was talking to some of the folks in United. I think they have this idea about every flight has a story, and then how they bring that story together from an end-to-end perspective, right? So if Nisha is calling United, like how do they know everything about Nisha, the behaviors, the sentiments, and everything, so that they can actually use the predictive and the modeling part of it to be able to respond to me and still be that human touch. Many of their structures are also these principles of engineering that we have learned for the last 30 years is all coming together for them as well. So I think on the final thought, moving it to the next slide, I think it was Mark Anderson who has a famous quote that software is eating the world. I think this is where trifecta comes in for those who were asking me. To me, this is the trifecta that is building the future. And what is happening across this board is also across this flywheel is that AI is also disrupting software engineering, data engineering, AI engineering. I think there was a talk just before mine. Somebody was talking about how they are using AI for the ETL and ELT right equation. So this synergy between software principles, data principles, AI principles, when we bring together we see these experiences that hinges on that seamless integration and seamless way to generate the value. Another one was Airbnb that I was reading that they have reduced like 15% of their customer inquiry. The question is not have they just increased, decreased, but the question is what is the customer experience across the board when this is when this is applied. So yeah, bringing it all together, I think in the next slide, I have some questions, and the big takeaway for you is like, how do you sing from that same music sheet, right? So that orchestration of all these things happen together in that shared data view, shared infrastructure, shared value that has been delivered for. So if anything from this talk that you can take away, trifactor is a word you can take away, but also if you are a software engineer, what principles of data engineer you need to learn? And same thing for all the other two as well. Data engineers, what principles can they learn? Because it's not just about your own silos, but it's also about how all of them work together for that scale, that repeat and rinse, that next AI value can be generated out of it. So with that, I think I don't know if time is left for any question, but I will leave that to you.
I'm going to check right now. I think we got enough time for one question. We could do one. So, what is that one question going to be? There's a very nice question from Miguel in here. A thought-provoking question, but with the increase usage of AI for software engineering and having data engineering functions shrunk due to open platforms and ever-increasing ease of ETL, won't we have a trifecta reduced to an AI engineer?
Potentially, that's a good one, right? But to me, it's about the principle and all the things that we have to do for, all the way from feature development in software to having the knowledge of the data. But you are absolutely right that future might not be trifecta, but today it is. Clearly, it is in organizations. In fact, I know organizations are creating this new function called AI engineer. So, can you say that AI engineers will be able to do both the data and the? I hope so. I hope the learning curve for AI engineer is not just about that model, it's also about data. Like, I'm not, by the way, you've seen my life slide, I'm not expert in data or software. I've done many of these for people who have done data engineering, who know these formats that we talk about. I mean, OpenX is a great example of a company, even database and Snowflake, and people who are building these massive, massive platforms and products, they know this art of what does it take. I mean, I've dealt with, I mean, 3 digits, petabytes of data. Like, right, we are talking large volumes of data. What does it take for data to land properly, store properly, not overuse the compute? To your question, will AI engineers get trained enough on data? I hope so. I hope the models are also going to evolve. As we know, just this morning I was listening, OpenAI is already adding coding to your ChatGPT now. So yeah, I do hope at some point the trifecta and this flywheel will hopefully become one word, but it's not there today. And the promise is little further out.
Excellent. I must say that you were incredibly clear, and when I needed to change these slides, it was like it was perfect. So
thank you for helping me with this, and thank you everyone for attending.
All right, we're gonna keep on moving. Let's keep on